The Western Mass Training Consortium is celebrating 40 years of changing and improving lives right here in the Valley. Mary Lou Sullivan is the Executive Director of the Western Massachusetts Training Consortium. She joins us to share more. Mary Lou, nice to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Congratulations on 40 successful years. It's wonderful. Now, what brought you into existence 40 years ago?
Well, you know, in 1975, Massachusetts was going through some real changes in terms of services in mental health and in what was then called mental retardation. There were two consent decrees out here in Western Mass. One had to do with the conditions at Belchertown State School and the other at Northampton State Hospital. So we were founded to really look at how staff could be prepared for a new way of supporting people in the community and to really open up a new way of thinking about how people could be part of our lives in community as opposed to being isolated in institutions.
There was a need for it, without a doubt, and to think of how far you've come in 40 years, seeing the organizations that hire people and make sure that they're within our community and supported. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And you talk about in your mission statement, lived experience. Tell me what you mean by that.
That's come to be a really important concept to us, and it really drives a lot of our work. And so one way you might think about it is if there was a problem with depression, for example, you might seek out an expert who's really studied it and knows a lot about it. And there's another kind of wisdom, and those are the people who've lived it. And that's one of the things that we feel in our society hasn't been held up enough. Sometimes that voice of experience hasn't been given enough credence. And so we've really looked for a variety of ways in which people can work with each other as peers, can know more about what opportunities there are for living with life circumstances, and really defining things in a broader way as being part of living as opposed to a diagnosis or a deficit.
I think that's a wonderful point you make. I think in many situations that lived experience is more valuable than any other experience and any other education. So being able to let people work together that can share their wisdom is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Really
now
powerful.
We want to look at some photos that you've submitted, showed us. The Recover Parade. Tell us about this photo.
Well, there's a project up in Greenfield called the Recover Project, and this is an opportunity where there was something going on in Greenfield and they wanted to be one of the players out there. So these are folks who are in recovery around substance abuse, and there's really important to get that message out that recovery is possible and that there are countless people in our community who have come out the other side. There's a lot of activity that they do to really support staying sober. They have sober softball in the summer, they have karaoke, and they have movie nights for families. And so it's an opportunity for people who've had that experience to support one another and staying on that road.
It's amazing, Mary Lou. Now we're almost out of time. We have some more photos that we're going to show, but I'd like you to tell us what is next for the consortium.
Well, we're excited this year. There's some yoga going on. We're excited this year to really celebrate our 40th all year long. And we have many different programs. I really encourage people to go to our website, which I know you're going to put up there,
yes, we will.
To know a little bit more about all the ways in which we support people.
That's wonderful, Mary Lou. Thanks for joining us. Congrats again on celebrating 40 years. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.